All right, so we're going to continue this with step 95, and we're going to go to the end here. So update your condition to check if row's length is less than count. So we're going to go to update your condition to check. So this while loop, we're going to see if row's length, instead of done, row's length is less than count. There we go. Next, replace the done reference in your pad row with a rows.length plus 1. Rows.length plus 1. And you probably could do rows.length plus plus. That might work, but we'll do plus 1. Rows.length plus 1. Oh, wait, wrong one. We need to actually keep this as done plus plus. And then replace your pad row call with a row. So this whole call we're going to change to rows.length plus 1. There we go. And so actually, I think we could do plus plus. That wouldn't work actually. So you have to kind of mess around with it. But plus 1 is what they ask for, so we're going to do plus 1. Actually, it says that's wrong because you should pass rows.length as a first argument. Okay, so actually what they want us to do is do pad row as the call that function, and then make the first argument rows.length plus 1. And then what was the second thing? Was it row count? Row count? Yeah, row count. Okay. So not, I mean, this just kind of get used to following the instructions here. You don't need to know exactly why everything works like to a T. What you need to start getting comfortable with is writing this kind of code, and then eventually you'll start finding the pattern in it, and then you'll be able to figure out how to plug it into the problems that you actually want to solve for your company or for school or whatever. So yeah. Now you no longer need your done variable. Remove the increment operator from the loop and the variable declaration for done. So the variable declaration is right here, and the remove the increment operator is right here. Okay, a little bit of an advertisement here, so 1 second. Okay, next one. That's a very clean and functional loop. Nice work, but there's still more to explore. Use a multi-line comment to comment out your while loop. So we're going to comment it out with the, remember the how we talked about the commenting multiple lines with the star and the backslash. That's how you do it right there. What if you made your pyramid upside down or inverted? Time to try it out. Start by creating a new for loop and declare an I variable and assign it the value of I equals count. Um, and then false and false. So what it's checking is if, so count is 8, so it starts with 8, and then we don't have anything, we haven't defined anything for the next 2 yet. So your for loop should initialize I with the value of count. It does, doesn't it? It should be equal. Let. You need to add the let I equal count. You should use false as your condition. Oh, and we have to make it to it's a for loop, so these need to be semicolons. There we go. Because you're going to loop in the opposite direction, your loop needs to run while I is greater than 0. So you can use the greater than operator for this. So set your loop's condition to run when I is greater than 0. So so basically, this is kind of a backwards for loop. Is we're starting with 8 because 8's the count, and then we're going to basically to 1 because I, as long as it's greater than 0, or basically 0.1, but we're doing it just in increments of 1. So it'll be 8 to 1. And then we need to add the increment. So like you did earlier with I equals I plus 1, update your iteration statement to give I to the value subtracting from itself. So I equals I minus 1. Again, push the result of calling pad row with your I and count variables to your rows array. So push the result of calling pad row with your I and count variables to your rows array. So we're going to say rows dot push pad row with I and count as the variables. So this is an inverted pyramid because we're starting at 8 and we're going down. So just like the addition, there are different operators you can use for subtraction. The subtraction assignment operator subtracts the given value from the current variable value and assign the result back to the variable. Replace your iteration statement with the correct statement using the subtraction operator. So it'll just be I minus minus. I want us to do, isn't that the, we haven't quite got that far yet. We're doing I minus equals 1. There we go. And then even further define it as I minus minus. So those are 3 different ways you can do that for the operator or the increment operator. Use a multi-line comment to comment out this loop. So we're going to comment it out like we have before with the star and the backslash or backslash star and then star backslash. You can actually build the inverted pyramid without needing to loop backwards like you did. To do this, you need to learn a couple new array methods. Start by using const declaring numbers variable, const numbers, and assign it an array with the elements 1, 2, and 3 equals 1, 2, 3. This is a random array that we're creating, and then console log the array. You don't always have to console log it. It just shows that it actually is working. So as you can see in the console here, you can see it's logged. You const declare an unshifted variable, unshifted, and assign it the result of calling unshift on a numbers array. Numbers.unshift unshift past 5 is the argument. So then print your unshifted variable. So console log unshifted. So a lot of stuff going on here. So unshifted in this case adds the number you want to the beginning of the array. So it adds 5 to the beginning because we picked 5 here. And then when you actually log it, it just logs the total number of values, the length of that new array that's created with the unshifted. The numbers array would be 2 and 3. All arrays also have a shift method that this will remove the first element of the array, unlike pop, which removes the last element. Here's an example of the shift method. So you just apply the shift method. So directly below your numbers, do a shifted, const shifted, and assign it the result of calling shift on numbers. And right there, it removes the, let's see here. So let's see if we console log it. So yeah, it console logs the total count, so just 1 because one is taken away. But let's see. So if we const yeah, so what happens there is we are removing the 1 and then replacing it with the 5. Okay, now that you've tried these methods, you can do another inverted pyramid approach. But first, you need to clean up your experimentation. Remove your numbers array and the method calls and logs. So basically all these. Next, sometimes you may wish to bring back previous code and that you commented out. You can do that by removing the comments. We're going to remove the comments here. Step 111, your pyramid is no longer inverted. This is because you're adding new rows to the end of an array. Update your loop body to add new rows to the beginning of the array. Let's see here. So your pyramid is no longer inverted. This is because you are adding new rows to the end of the array. Update your body to add new rows at the beginning of the array. So we have to do it in the body of it here. So let's see, pad row. If you go to our pad row number. Let's do. I think we should invert this count and I. No, that didn't work. So row number is the count. Row number, so is the, let's see. Count. So yeah, that works there. It does it, but it does it for all of them. So we need to make it have a if you did I, oh, I plus one. No, I minus one. See what it says if we check it. You should use the unshift method of rows. Okay, let's change this back to I and count. And go look at our unshift method. You should use the unshift method of rows. Um, um, I actually don't know how to do this one. Let's see here. I and count. So that's how you do it normally, but let's do I. Oh, here we go. Unshift. There we go. So we do the opposite. Instead of push, we do unshift. One second. Okay, what if you had a way to toggle between an inverted and standard pyramid? Start by declaring an inverted variable, const inverted, set the value of true. You are not changing this variable in your code, but you'll need to use let so your test can modify it later. So we'll use let. Use an if statement to check if inverted is true. Remember that you do not need to use an equality operator here. I guess they want us to put it in the for loop. If inverted. So all you have to do is put inverted. You don't have to put it as true. You just put it if inverted. And then that's all you have to do for that. Now move your unshift call into your if block. In your if your pyramid is not inverted, then you will want to have an else block that that builds the pyramid in normal order. So if not, so in the earlier steps, so add an else block, so just else. So that's a chance to add a alternate statement. That's good. When inverted is false, you want to build a standard pyramid. Use push like you have in previous steps to achieve this. So use push like you have in previous steps to achieve this. So um, basically, we're going to do the exact same thing we did here, but we're going to make it push. There we go. So that gives us two options. So either we're going to run the rows on the rows array, which is right here, which is empty. We're going to push, we're going to unshift it and apply this pad row function within it with the variables plugged in of I and count, which I is for the row number and count is for the row count. And then that's for unshift. So that's our standard. But if else, we're gonna push it. So we're gonna if it's else, then it's gonna be the standard pyramid. So right now the standard is the inverted pyramid, but else it'll be the standard pyramid. Your pyramid generator is now in a finished state with more functionality than you originally planned. The next step is to clean up your code. Remove all comments, both single and multi-line, from your code. So remove this and remove that. There's one more thing to do, so just give it time here for the advertisement. Okay. Next is nice work. Experiment with different values for your character count and inverted variables. When you are ready to move on to your project, set character equal to exclamation mark. So if you set this to exclamation mark, this will all be exclamation marks. Set the count to 10, so there'll be 10. There will be 10. It'll go across 10 sections, and set inverted to false, so it'll actually be not inverted. There we go. Congratulations, we are done with that project. We will continue doing this with the next project. Will be building a gradebook app. So we will do that next. Thanks for watching.